on the Osmo plains and highlands, on the fields of Kalu heroes. Time had travelled little distance, ere the hops in trees were humming, barley in the fields was singing, and in Kalu's well the water. This, the language of the trio. Let us join our triple forces, join to each the other's powers. Sad alone to live and struggle, little use in working singly, better we should toil together. Osmotar, the beer preparer, brewer of the drink refreshing, takes the golden grains of barley, taking 6 of barley kernels, taking 7 tips of hop fruit, filling 7 cups with water. On the fire she sets the cauldron, boils the barley, hops and water, lets them steep and seethe and bubble, brewing thus the beer delicious. In the hottest days of summer, on the foggy promontory, on the island forest covered. Poured it into birchwood barrels, into hogsheads made of oakwood. Thus did Osmotar of Kalu brew together hops and barley. Could not generate the ferment. Thinking long and long debating, thus she spake in troubled accents. What will bring the effervescence? Who will add the needed factor that the beer may foam and sparkle, may ferment and be delightful? Kalevala, magic maiden, grace and beauty in her fingers, swiftly moving, lightly stepping, in her trimly buckled sandals, steps upon the birchwood bottom, turns one way and then another, in the centre of the cauldron, finds within a splinter lying, from the bottom lifts the fragment, turns it in her fingers, musing, what may come of this I know not, in the hands of magic maidens, in the virgin hands of Capo, snowy virgin of the Northland. Kalevala took the splinter to the magic virgin Capo, who by unknown force and insight rubbed her hands and knees together. And produced a snow white squirrel. Thus instructed she her creature, gave the squirrel these directions. Snow white squirrel, mountain jewel, flower of the field and forest, haste thou whither I would send thee, into Metsola's wide limits, into Tapio's seat of wisdom. Hasten through the heavy treetops, wisely through the thickest branches, that the eagle may not seize thee, thus escape the bird of heaven. Bring me ripe cones from the fir tree, from the pine tree bring me seedlings, bring them to the hands of Capo for the beer of Osmo's daughter. Quickly hastened forth the squirrel, quickly sped the nimble broad-tail, swiftly hopping on his journey from one thicket to another, from the birch tree to the aspen, from the pine tree to the willow, from the zorb tree to the alder, jumping here and there with method, crossed the eagle woods in safety. Into Metsola's wide limits, into Tapio's seat of wisdom. There perceived 3 magic pine trees, there perceived 3 smaller fir trees. Quickly climbed the dark green branches, was not captured by the eagle, was not mangled in its talons. Broke the young cones from the fir tree, cut the shoots of pine tree branches, hid the cones within his pouches, wrapped them in his fur-grown mittens, brought them to the hands of Capo, to the magic maiden's fingers. Capo took the cones selected, laid them in the beer for ferment. But it brought no effervescence. It was cold and lifeless. Capo, brewer of the barley, deeply thought and long considered, what will bring the effervescence? Who will lend me aid efficient that the beer may foam and sparkle, may ferment and be refreshing? Kalevala, sparkling maiden, grace and beauty in her fingers, softly moving, lightly stepping, in her trimly buckled sandals, steps again upon the bottom, turns one way and then another in the centre of the cauldron, sees a chip upon the bottom, takes it from its place of resting, looks upon the chip and muses, what may come of this, I know not. In the hands of mystic maidens, in the magic hands of Capo, in the snow-white virgin's fingers. Kalevala took the birch chip to the magic maiden Capo, gave it to the white-faced maiden. Capo, by the aid of magic, rubbed her hands and knees together and produced a magic martin. And the martin golden-breasted. Thus instructed she her creature, gave the martin these directions. Thou, my martin golden-breasted, thou, my son of golden colour, haste thou whither I would send thee. To the bear dens in the mountains, to the grottos of the growler. Gather yeast upon thy fingers, gather foam from lips of anger, from the lips of bears in battle. Bring it to the hands of Capo, to the hands of Osmo's daughter. Then the martin, golden-breasted, full consenting, hastened onward, quickly bounding on his journey, lightly leaping through the distance, leaping o'er the widest rivers, leaping over rocky fissures, to the bear dens in the mountains, to the grottos of the growler, where the wild bears fight each other, where they pass a dread existence. Iron rocks their softest pillows in the fastnesses of mountains. From their lips the foam is dripping, from their tongues the froth of anger. This the martin deftly gathered, brought it to the magic maiden, laid it in her dainty fingers. Osmotar, the beer preparer, brewer of the beer of barley, used the beer foam as a ferment.
But it didn't work.
But it brought no effervescence, and the liquor did not sparkle. Osmotar, the beer preparer, Capo, brewer of the barley, thought again and long debated, who or what will bring the ferment that my beer may not be lifeless? Kalevala, magic maiden, grace and beauty in her fingers, softly moving, lightly stepping, in her trimly buckled sandals, steps again upon the bottom, turns one way, and then the other, in the centre of the cauldron, sees a pod upon the bottom, takes it from its place of resting, turns it o'er and muses, what may come of this I know not. In the hands of mystic maidens, in the magic hands of Capo, in the snowy virgin's fingers. Kalevala, sparkling maiden, took the pod to magic Capo. Capo, by the aid of magic, rubbed the pod upon her kneecap. And a honeybee came flying from the pod within her fingers. Capo thus addressed her birdling. Little bee with honeyed winglets, king of all the fragrant flowers, haste thou whither I direct thee. To the islands in the ocean, to the water cliffs and grottos, where asleep a maid has fallen, girdled with a belt of copper. By her side are honey grasses, by her lips are fragrant flowers, herbs and flowers honey laden. Gather there the sweetened juices, gather honey on thy winglets, from the chalices of flowers, from the tips of 7 petals, bring it to the hands of Capo, to the hands of Osmo's daughter. Then the bee, the swift-winged birdling, flew away with lightning swiftness on his journey to the islands, o'er the high waves of the ocean. Journeyed one day, then a second, journeyed all the next day onwards, till the 3rd day evening brought him to the islands in the ocean, to the water cliffs and grottos. Found the maiden sweetly sleeping in her silver tinseled raiment, girdled with a belt of copper, in a nameless meadow sleeping in the honey fields of magic. By her side were honey grasses, by her lips were fragrant flowers, silver stalks with golden petals. Dipped his winglets in the honey, dipped his fingers in the juices of the sweetest of the flowers, brought the honey back to Capo, to the magic maiden's fingers. Osmotar, the beer preparer, laid the honey in the liquor. Capo mixed the beer and honey, and at last the beer fermented!
Hooray!
Rose the live beer upward, from the bottoms of the vessels, upward in the tubs of birchwood, foaming higher, till it reached the oaken handles. Overflowing all the cauldrons, to the ground it foamed and sparkled, sank away in sand and gravel.
Oh,
Osmotar, the beer preparer, Capo, brewer of the barley, spake these words in saddened accents. Woe is me! My life unfated. Badly have I brewed the liquor, have not brewed the beer in wisdom, will not live within its vessels, overflows and fills Poyola. From the treetop sings the redbreast, from the aspen calls the robin. Do not grieve, thy beer is worthy. Put it into oaken vessels, into strong and willing barrels, firmly manned with hoops of copper. Thus was brewed the beer of Northland at the hands of Osmo's daughter. This the origin of brewing beer from Kalu hops and barley. Great indeed the reputation of the ancient beer of Kalu, said to make the feeble hardy, famed to dry the tears of women, famed to cheer the broken-hearted, make the aged young and subtle, make the timid brave and mighty, make the brave man ever braver, fill the heart with joy and gladness, fill the mind with wisdom sayings, fill the tongue with ancient legends. Only makes the fool more foolish.
yeah.
Which I think you'll probably be pleased to hear brings us to the end of set 2. Try and keep the break very short.